Hello, my friends. Today, I did a reading on Hannah Cleary. She is an Idaho 4 case friend that you've probably heard of. She died a year before, almost to the day that the Idaho 4 case happened. And one of our dear friends had asked me to do the reading, and I was just editing it and adding a couple of clips. And as I was doing that, I decided I wanted to just go over it together because I think it'll help explain some of the stuff in the reading that I did. Plus, I have questions. So, this is the Idaho Moscow Police Department Hannah Cleary police report. It was FOIA'd by one of our friends, and I copied and pasted it into this so that I could mark up. I don't want to read the whole thing. I just highlighted a few of the important things because I'm curious how they really got to the cause of death. So this should be quick. And I just want to walk you guys through it because I have questions. So this is an incident report for a nature death, a not unattended death. Okay. And then we go through, these are all the logistics. If you want to read it, I can post it if I can post it. I'm sure you can find it. I found it on Reddit too. So, and it's the Hannah Cleary police report. So who's involved? Well, Catherine, we know her. She did the Idaho 4 kids, Hannah and her roommate, Catherine. This is Hannah's father, Scott. And this is some of the evidence that they saw. And here, the initiating report, what happened. So they're going through that. These are all the other people who have FOIA'd it. Catherine's dad had, and mom. Catherine herself has. Yeah, I would too. Her dad did it twice. Okay. But he probably has the same questions I do. So as we're going through, this is just Hannah, this is the synopsis. Hannah Cleary was discovered deceased after her father called in a welfare check. Pain. I hope you recognize that name. This is some of the evidence. They're going to go through it again. This is the narrative. This is the part I wanted to read out loud. On February 27th at approximately 9:40, I responded to 29 Baker Street to conduct a welfare check on Hannah. Hannah's father, Scott, called stating that his wife had not heard from her, and it was unusual since Hannah always contacted them on Sundays. Scott stated that the location on Hannah's phone was at her apartment, and it was plugged in, fully charged. That sounds like Life 360. I learned that from the Karen Reed case. Upon arrival, after numerous knocks, a female answered the door. She stated she was Hannah's roommate and identified herself as Catherine Aquaro. I asked Aquaro if Hannah was home, and she said she wasn't sure, she hadn't seen her. Aquaro said Hannah's door was closed, which was also unusual. I asked Aquaro to knock on the door to see if Hannah could speak with me. Hannah, I think this means Aquaro, did so and checked the knob. She said there was no answer, and the door appeared to be locked from the inside. I asked Aquaro to keep knocking as I checked the parking lot and discovered a white Ford Escape registered to Hannah. I returned inside, and Aquaro confirmed that there was still no answer. She said that she had been out of town and returned at noon. That was today, February 27th February 27th, 22. She said it was unlike Hannah to lock her door. She explained that she didn't know Hannah very well and that they only spoke every other week since they both had busy work and school schedules. She said Hannah was an introvert and they knew each other because Aquaro answered an advertisement for a room posted by Hannah. Sergeant Blake arrived on the scene and we were able to pop the lock open. Upon entry, I saw Hannah face down and covered in a blanket on the bed. Rigor mortis had set in and she was cold and stiff. Her arms were tucked above her head under her pillow. It appeared as though she had laid down under the covers to sleep. One leg was partially off the bed from the shin down, and her cell phone was tucked under a pillow under her head. I could see residual fluid soaked into the bed around Hannah's head. Sergeant Blake informed Aquero of our findings and she packed a bag to go home with her family. She provided a key for the residence so we could lock it up. Rookie Payne arrives, and Patton arrived on the scene to assist with photographs and documentation. Hannah's room was clean, neat, and very tidy. Items were organized, and everything had its appropriate place. I noted the window had 2 security dowels in place, indicating there was no way for forced entry. I discovered a food container and a small trash can that said Best Buy 224 on it. I also found an empty bottle of sleep aid. 100 soft gels of... this is pretty much Benadryl, I'm pretty sure. I don't even know how to pronounce it. And the security seal of the bottle in the same trash can. Based on the cleanliness of the room and the very few items in the trash can, I deducted the security seal and the empty bottle were placed in the can very recently. With the dosage being 1 soft gel at night, it was unlikely a security seal, indicating the bottle had been opened, was placed in the trash 100 days prior. Checking the rest of the home in the main trash can, I discovered a receipt inside a Walmart bag with many items on it, as well as the purchase of the sleep aid. This receipt was dated on February 24th. Under the Walmart bag was a handwritten grocery list, matching many of the items on the receipt. Melatonin was written on the list, but not sleep aid. I contacted Provo, Utah Police Department to send a death notification to Scott, while Sergeant Blaker notified the on-call captain, the coroner, and the funeral home. Coroner Kathy arrived on the scene a short time later and stated that she would be ordering an autopsy to determine cause of death. At approximately 11 o'clock, Scott called me, informing me Provo had contacted him regarding his daughter's death. I explained the circumstances of his daughter, and he informed me she had no serious medical history. She was pre-diabetic, and she did not like going to the doctor if she was sick. She had no history of suicide and no mental health problems in the past. Scott said Hannah's sister reached out to her via text around 2 a.m. on Friday, that was February 25th, thinking she would see the text when she woke up, and she respond. After a deliver status and no indicator of read, Hannah's sister attempted again around 3, and the message was delivered but not read. Scott said they attempted to call Hannah on Sunday and didn't get an answer. He advised that Hannah worked at the library on Saturdays and Sundays, so they could provide information on whether she checked in for work either day. Based on the timeline provided and the purchase of the sleep aid, it is likely that Hannah died sometime during the night on February 24th or early morning on the 25th. Short's funeral home arrived and collected the body. Okay, other information. Hannah's cell phone and computer were collected on scene and booked into evidence, as evidentiary messages could be contained on the device. Follow-up needed. Undeveloped leads pending in the autopsy report. Evidentiary messages on the phone or the computer. This case status is active. Okay? He promises under the penalty of perjury in the state of Utah that this is all true and correct. Okay, Jason House? Well, as we continue on, this is just a little bit more of the summary. The funeral home came. Hannah's cell phone was collected, and then Jason swears under penalty of perjury that that's all correct. This is another supplemental report, just a summary. Okay, this is a narrative, and I don't know who it's from, but probably Jason. On February 27th at approximately 11:15, I responded to Hannah's house to assist officer. So this might be Payne. To assist Officer House with a welfare check. When I arrived at the residence, Officer House advised me the call was now an unintended death investigation. Officer House requested I take photographs of the scene. The following are the photograph logs of the incident. I haven't seen these. And so we're going to fly through until we get to the one that says photo 72. Stain on bed, photo 73. Stain on bed full, photo 74. Stain on bed from the side. Stain from what? During my contact on the scene, I was unable to locate a suicide note or anything else that was suspicious. During my contact on the scene, my department-issued body-worn video camera was worn and recording. And, this is Patton. And I promise under the penalty of perjury that this is all correct. So we have the legs in lividity turned over, the body showing rigor mortis. Maybe if there are any nurses in here, I want to know what this was. A stain on the bed. A stain from what? If she OD'd, I don't know. And there was no heat on. Did I see that with you guys yet? I don't know if we've gotten there. There was no heat on in this room. Okay. So this is a narrative, or this is our computer guy. Oh, I wonder if this is the same one that forgot his whole training when he was on the stand with Koberger. Okay, so this looks like it's Eric. On March 15th, I finished my triage exam of the laptop computer, which had been seized in this case. I took possession of the computer, removed the hard drive, and connected it. This is what he remembered to do for this one, if it's the same guy. I searched the computer for terms associated with suicide and death. I located no documents or recent internet history that contained any type of suicide note or anything related to suicidal thoughts. Okay. Then the extracted data was placed on a USB drive and given to Sergeant Lawrence for his continuing investigation. This might be the guy that was on the stand and forgot everything. Again, I did not locate anything suspicious in my brief review of the data. This is Eric, under the penalty of perjury. It was placed in an evidence bag and given. Okay, now this is John Lawrence. I wonder if this is that guy. Okay, on March 15th, Detective Cornice, that's Jason, processed her phone and gave me a thumb drive of the phone's context. I reviewed it. I found text messages, yada, yada. Out of the 1,400 plus text messages, I did not see any messages discussing Hannah being in any sort of crisis or depression. There was no evidence that would lead me to believe she had any type of concerns or worries. There were no hits on the keyword searches related to death or suicide. I spoke with Hannah's father and made him aware of my findings or lack thereof. Okay, so we now have 3 officers. We have Jason, Lawrence, John Lawrence, Jason, and Eric saying there was nothing that had to do with suicide. Okay, that's nice. This is the part. So this is Lawrence. Now they got the toxicology reports back. This is when Catherine, the same coroner that did Ethan's, coincidentally did Hannah's. Okay. Hannah, okay, her blood contained 8,000 milligrams of Benadryl. The report stated toxic levels of it are commonly, it's 5,000 is toxicity. They didn't actually say that the bottle was gone either. And based on the results of the autopsy, Cleary was found she was in good health at the time of her death, and the cause of death was an overdose of this. Okay. Didn't they just say up here? Hold on. Sorry. I just thought of something. Didn't he say there was a bottle of 100 pills? Even if she took all, let me just check. Sorry, team. Okay, this just says sleep aid. I want to know. I didn't. Okay, so 100, you guys, no matter what, 100 soft gels at 50 milligrams each. I don't know if this is going to be as easy as 100 times 50 is 5,000. There wasn't enough. Okay, so what I don't know. And if anyone's a nurse here, and I could be certainly wrong, but based on what we just read up there, Cleary's blood contained 8,100 milliliters of this drug. The report states that toxic levels are 5,000. Even if, first of all, they didn't mention that any of the pills were taken or missing. Even if she took that entire bottle, she would have only had 5,000 milliliters. Not that had only, but this number, based on just basic math, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, but 100 pills times 50 milliliters is 5,000. That's this number. How did they get 8,000? And they didn't mention that the pills were gone. They just said they found it open. Okay. All right. So here's Kathy. Oh, Kathy. I hope she signed it under the penalty of perjury. Based on the results of the autopsy, Cleary was found to be in good health at the time of her death, and the cause of death was an overdose. There was no possible way. If she had one bottle of 100 pills times 50 equals 5,000. That's all. That's what it would have shown. Okay. This is how you do policing in Moscow, Idaho. And so this is under the penalty of perjury. John Lawrence just closed the case. Right here, under the penalty of perjury. We have 4 cops, in my humble opinion, committing perjury right here. Because there was absolutely no signs of, absolutely no signs of being suicidal. Under the penalty of perjury, they all swore to this. No wonder Catherine's dad has requested this twice. So now I'm going to put this in with our reading, and it will probably make a little bit more sense. I love you. Bye.